Okay, so I'm here today to interview World War II 9th Armored Division veteran Prigeon Fontenot. Today is April 18th, 2025, and thank you, Mr. Fontenot, for agreeing to doing this interview. And the first thing I wanted to ask is, when were you born? Like, what is your birthday?
November the 23rd, 1925.
Okay, and how old are you right now?
I was 99, last birthday, November the 23rd of
1925, so you'll be 100 this year.
I'll be 100 in 1925.
Yes, sir, so you'll be 100.
On November 23rd.
And I wanted to ask, where did you grow up? Where are you originally from?
Out in the country, south of Rhine, Louisiana.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about your family, like your parents, and if you had any siblings?
My parents did not speak a word of English, and I had three sisters, one older than me and two younger than me, and we went to a country school called Indian Bayou, and they didn't allow us to speak French, so I had to learn to speak English.
I had to learn to speak English. Okay, so what was your childhood like your upbringing in your childhood?
Well, what?
Like when you were a kid, how was it being a kid growing up in the day and age that you did?
Well, on the farm, we had to eat mostly what we grew. It was during the Great Depression. And we survived with food, mostly food we grew.
Mostly on the farm, okay. Do you come from a religious background?
Well, I'm a Catholic, but not like some people are.
Okay.
I followed my religion. That's just it. Just followed it.
Okay, you found your religion. So before you went into the service, like what type of work did you do? Can you tell me a little bit about where you were at and what you were doing before you entered the service?
Well, I worked on the farm with my parents. That's what we did mostly. And from there, I dropped out of high school and went to the service. In my senior year.
Okay, so in your senior year, you dropped out when you went into the service?
Right, that's when I went to the service.
Okay, and so did you enlist or were you drafted?
No, I was drafted. But I knew to scum, they picked up everybody at 18 years old. One way or the other. So.
Do you remember when you were drafted, like what month and what year it was? Or maybe just the year? Was it 1944 when you were 18?
1944.
1944. Can you tell me about your training? Like where did you train and what type of training you got?
We took basic training at Camp Hood, Texas. And in the daytime it was steaming hot, and at night it was cold. You had to get a blanket at night.
Okay, do you know or remember about how long your training lasted? Was it several months or several weeks?
We was told we would go there for 17 weeks of basic training. So that's approximately 4 months and a week or so.
Okay. And what type of unit were you a part of? Like when you were training, what type of training did you get specifically? What type of unit?
Just basic training, like the exercise and bivouac and spend weeks in the woods at one time with tents and things of that sort.
Okay. And so, do you feel like you got good training and were you well prepared for going overseas? Do you feel like you got good training?
I think so. The ones who survived the training at Camp Hood, Texas, were trained well and tough.
Trained well and tough. And so what weapon did you mostly carry during your service?
An M1 rifle.
Okay.
And when we got overseas, we got put in an armored division.
So you trained mostly with an M1 rifle?
Yeah.
And then when you went overseas, you got in the armored. Okay. And so you were in the 52nd Armored Infantry, is that correct? I believe that's what I saw here on your wall.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, 52nd Armored Infantry of the 9th Armored Division. And so can you tell me about when you first went overseas? Do you remember what the ship was called you went over on?
I wish I would remember. I really don't remember.
Okay.
We just kind of traveling through basic and training and getting over the seas. But I don't remember the ship. But I remember getting on that ship January the 1st, 1945.
Okay. And so January 1st, 1945, and do you remember when y'all left and when you arrived in Europe?
But I thought we left January the 1st, but we did not leave till January the 3rd. So we stayed for 3 days, and we arrived in Europe about the middle of January and started getting organized.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what was the first thing you did when you got overseas? So y'all got organized and everything?
You're right.
And do you remember where you went first? Like what city or area or country you went to?
Not
first?
really. But as far as I knew, we went to Bastogne, Belgium, and helped those Americans that were there getting beat up, taking a beating, because they were so happy when we got there.
So you went overseas, so this would have been right at the end of the Battle of the Bulge, is that right? And how was it like meeting up with the 9th Armored Men who were already over there? Like, what were they like? What was their morale like and everything?
I met one of them that I knew personally from back home. He was about 4 years older than me, and he'd been over there. And he would watch me, or watch out for me. He'd tell me, be careful today, it's very dangerous today. The Germans are very bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they were happy that we arrived there to help them out, the one that was already there.
And so, did you learn about, like, did the 9th Armored, did they have a lot of casualties during the Battle of the Bulge? A lot of injured and wounded and captured?
Not in my group. We only lost one man in our group, but I know they lost a lot of men at the Bulge because there was a truck that would come every day and back up to a little shed with a roll-up door. And one day I was curious, so I went and looked. It was bodies they was put in the pile in there that you could not stand the smell.
Yeah, I remember you had told me when we talked on the phone before. So it was like a storage building, or like a shed or
like a little garage, like a car garage, good with a roll-up door. And we'd been there about a week or so. Every day that truck would come, back up to the door and roll it up. So one day I said, I want to go see what he's bringing in there, what's going on. I went, raised that door about 3 feet and looked. It was dead bodies, a big old pile, and something smelled so bad, nobody could stand the smell. I don't know how them guys did it, but they had a pile of bodies in there.
And so the bodies, they were American or German?
American. It was an American truck that would come bring the bodies there.
So they pick up the bodies and just drop them off there?
Come drop them off there. And eventually they send them back to the state, I'm sure, because I know some of them came back to the state because I went at the funerals.
Mm-hmm. So the body, do you know, were they 9th Armored soldiers or from other units? You're not sure?
They didn't know who.
But it was about 30 bodies? Okay. When you were overseas, like, what type of vehicle did you normally ride in? Did you ride in a tank or a half-track?
Half-track.
Okay. In a half-track. When you were overseas, were you involved in many, like, firefights or skirmishes with the enemy?
Not really. They was all surrendering as we went in there. They were surrendering. They wouldn't resist against the 9th Armored.
They're already surrendering. I was going to ask, did your unit take many prisoners?
Well, we took quite a few, but I don't have no idea how many. And one of my friends from the squad I was in was bringing one prisoner back, and he got shot. We had flushed the area good, I guess. There was one German soldier left back there, shot and killed one of my friends from our half-track.
Oh, really?
We only lost one in our half-track.
And the German shot him, or he shot the German?
No, German shot him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, he had a prisoner walking in front of him with the hands up, and he was in the back with a rifle. And somebody just was staying in one of them old houses and put a bullet through him, and he died right there on the street. Oh, I didn't go back that way, but it was just a matter of a few yards back of us, because one of my personal friends went back and seen it. And he begged for somebody to kill him. He says, I can't live like this. I think he might have been shot in the groin or something. with a lot of pain. And my friend came back and told me that. Downs asked me to kill him, was about to kill him, because he couldn't live like that. But
I was wondering, so the 9th Armored Division, they're really well known for the Ludendorff Bridge, the bridge at Remagen.
yeah,
Do you remember when you first heard about the bridge and when you first got to it, roughly?
no, we just didn't know nothing until we got there. Well, I think we knew it was broken, because we got there and parked all our tanks and half-tracks in a big pasture. And when it got dark, we started walking across the bridge. And 2 or 3 days later, half-tracks and tanks crossed over. Some was probably on a pontoon bridge, because we kept the Germans away so they could get set up to cross.
And so you actually did cross the bridge yourself?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
didn't go
yeah,
across
yeah.
the pontoon.
I walked across the bridge, the pontoon, yeah. No, the broken bridge.
Right.
Yes.
So when y'all were crossing the bridge, was there any German activity? Were you being fired upon or anything?
Not too much. They was running scared then. They knew they wasn't going to stop us. I think they realized that they could not stop us. 9th Army was coming through with a lot of force.
Do you know, were there a lot of casualties taking the bridge? Did the 9th Armored suffer a lot of casualties or wounded?
No.
Not too much?
No resistance. We walked across it. They kept going back in front of, backing up.
Do you remember when the bridge collapsed? Like, were you there present when it collapsed? Did you see it happen, or you'd already moved on?
No, we just know we could not cross on it. It was already damaged.
And so it was damaged from like German bombs or planes from before?
They said they bombed it twice. And it didn't collapse, but it was damaged. So the Americans would not cross the tanks and half-tracks over it.
After Remagen, do you remember where you went after that? Like, where did the 9th Armored go after that?
Oh, it was all young Americans talking about the Berlin Wall. We were going to be there in a short time. Because we knew about the Berlin Wall and we wanted to get there, and we don't want to do it.
And so as the war went on, did you notice more and more Germans were surrendering towards it got the end of the war, and they started surrendering more?
More and more, yeah.
Did you ever have any issues with any prisoners being disruptive or a problem, or were they just tired of fighting?
Oh, they surrendered.
What were your thoughts about the German soldiers? Do you think they were well trained and disciplined, or what were your thoughts about the Germans?
For a while, they were very tough.
They were very tough, but then they were just tired of fighting.
Well, they're running out of equipment also. Mm-hmm. That's what our advantage was. We didn't run out of equipment or fuel or nothing. They were running out of fuel and tires for the trucks.
So while you were in the service, do you feel like you had good officers? Do you feel like your officers were good for the men and gave good communication?
Yes, they were good. All our officers were well trained.
Did you ever consider being an officer?
No. Like I said, we took training and were straight as soldiers in combat. We didn't have no training more than higher than that.
Did you ever hear much about the Russians, or did you ever have any interaction with Russian soldiers? Did you meet them or interact with them? Or?
No, not from them. We knew they were there somewhere around, but we never did have any.
Well, when you were overseas, did you capture any items? Did you bring anything back home from the service that you took, or any bringbacks?
A couple of things, small stuff.
I know, a lot of soldiers would bring back, like pistols or flags or...
I brought back a pistol. It was a very little one. A pocket size.
So it was a pocket pistol?
Yeah.
Do you remember what caliber it was? Was it maybe like a 32 or 38?
25, I think.
Okay.
It was a little bit bigger than a 22.
Okay. Do you remember where you got that from? Did you take it from a soldier, or did you find it in like a house?
We found those at a lot of places. They'd throw them away. They didn't want to get caught with them. They tried to hide them or throw them away.
While you were overseas, did you write a lot of letters home, and did you receive a lot of letters and like care packages and stuff?
I would get a certain amount, regular news, from my parents.
Do you believe that the receiving care packages and letters, that was good for morale for the soldiers who were fighting? Did that like uplift their spirits and everything while they were away from home?
I think so. Everybody waited for a mail call.
Everybody waited for mail call?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember hearing about when Roosevelt died? And do you remember getting the news about the president had died?
No, I think I was back to the States before then. I'm not sure.
Okay. And what about did you hear about Hitler when he died? Do you remember hearing anything about that?
We were curious about Hitler, but nobody ever saw or heard.
Do you remember when you heard that the war in Europe was over, that Germany surrendered? Do you remember when you heard that and how it made you feel and the men around you?
We was all happy. May the 5th, they told us to stop shooting, that they were surrendered. And May the 7th, they had an unconditional surrender.
And so, did you ever hear about the possibility of going to Japan? Like, was there talks about you or the 9th Armor going to Japan to fight the Japanese?
All the men my age was taken out of our regular 9th Armored country and put in a big old group, and it was going to be brought to Japan. That's all we knew. And then they dropped the bomb in Japan, and that made us happy.
That made you happy?
You always talk about it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what were your thoughts when you heard about the bombs dropped? And do you think it was necessary for them to have been dropped, or what were your thoughts about the atomic bomb?
The rumors we had, they could not find those Japanese. They was all hiding, and they'd throw bombs at the Americans or shoot at them, and you had no idea where it was coming from. It was all hidden in the woods and holes, and that bomb got them out.
So after the war in Germany ended, did you do any occupation duty? Like in Germany, did you stay overseas for a while and do occupational stuff?
Not very long.
Do you know about how long you were overseas? Was it a year or more, or several months?
Several months, probably a little bit less than a year.
And how long were you in the service total, from training, like when you were drafted until you were discharged? Do you know about how long?
Just about 2 years, a little bit less than 2 years, maybe 23 months or something like that. I don't think I had completed 2 years in there. And I didn't make any notes to really remember the dates.
So while you were overseas, did you ever were you ever wounded or have any close calls where you were close to being wounded? Was there any situations like that?
Oh, I guess it was always close to being wounded, but I never got hurt. I never got wounded.
Never got wounded?
But it could happen anytime, we just didn't know when.
Did you ever have any experience with like German snipers or even like mines they planted under the ground, anything like that?
No.
Not really? Did you ever receive any awards or decorations?
A combat infantry badge.
You got a combat infantry badge?
Yeah.
And what was your highest rank? Like when you got out of service, what did you discharge as your rank?
Private, first class.
And so do you remember about when you returned back to the U.S.? Like, do you remember when you were discharged, roughly?
Not really. I can always look it up on my discharge paper, but I don't really remember.
Do you remember the ship that you came back to the States on?
No.
What was it like when you returned home to your family? Was it very exciting and joyful, or?
Oh, yes.
Your parents and family were happy to have you
They
home?
were very happy.
Do you still have like your uniform and medals or anything? Did you keep any of your stuff after the service?
No uniform and nothing of that sort. Vest kit and combat infantry badge and things of that sort. One pistol, but nothing big.
So after the service, did you ever attend any 9th Armored reunions, or did you stay in contact with any of your friends, the men you served with after the war?
I did meet a couple after that.
Since you came back to the States, have you ever returned back overseas? All these later years in life, did you ever go back to Europe?
No, I never was interested in going back.
You were just thankful to come home and just
Yeah.
kind of wanted to put it behind you? So after the war, did you get married and have children? And can you tell me about your life after the service?
I stayed single several years, and I got married to a young lady, and we raised 5 children, and I lost her 8 years ago at a assisted living home.
Do you know how long y'all were married for?
60 years. Up there somewhere. So, but by TV, we had a first wedding anniversary picture there, and the 50th anniversary.
And what was your wife's name?
Betty Ann.
Betty Ann. And y'all had 5 children?
Yeah.
What type of work did you do after you came back from the war?
Mostly on the farm. For several years on the farm, then I worked for a wholesale company after that. The last years I worked, I had 26 years with the Rhine wholesale.
And so, like, with your wife and children, what was your family life like? You know, as you started getting older and you got a career and stuff and raised children, what was that like?
We had a common life. Everybody had to work, keep life going.
Do you have any hobbies? Like, what do you enjoy doing in life? Like, what keeps you happy and what keeps you young?
Well, hunting mostly, and riding ponies. I raised a bunch of ponies.
So you like to hunt and also like train and ride horses? And
You
stuff
ride horses,
on the
yes.
farm? And you had one horse that you raised from being young and you were real attached to?
Oh, yes. Well, that's the picture with him being a pony. Most ponies are scared of you, but this pony was not scared of me. He would follow me like a little dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he was to me.
So I know you're 99 right now, and you will be 100 on November 23rd. What's your advice to live a long life? Like, what do you think you did? Was it exercise, eating healthy, faith? What's your advice?
Just eat healthy and live the common life, everyday living. Work as many days as you could to get a little bit ahead of the world.
And so I was wondering, does longevity run in your family? Do you have a lot of people in your family that have lived as long as you have or longer?
I have a sister 2 years older than me. She's living in a nursing home in Rhine.
She's still living now, your sister?
Yeah.
So she would be about 101 or 102?
She'll be 102 in October.
Does your family have a history of military service? Did you have any other relatives
No.
before you or after serve?
No. Well, brother knows.
Your brother-in-laws, they served?
Yeah.
Do you know much about their service during the war?
No, not really. I know he went in Europe also in World War II because he was drafted not long after me.
So, I know you had told me before, didn't one of your brother-in-laws get killed overseas?
No, one of my wife's cousins.
Oh, was it your wife's cousin?
Yeah.
And was he Army or was he Navy Marine?
Army.
And he was killed overseas?
I knew he had got killed overseas, but I know his pictures in the American Legion Hall with all the deceased veterans. So his pictures up there. So, but I did go to his funeral. They brought the body back to the States.
And so any other tips or advice you would give to somebody for, again, living a good life? Or would you do anything different in your life? Or are you thankful for all you've done, all you've been through?
I'm happy with the life I lived. And I live to be a very long life, healthy, things of that sort.
Do you do a lot of things with family? Do your families, do they call you from time to time or sometimes come visit with you? Or do you have any other random visitors or interact with people?
Most of my kids, and they pick me up, bring me to their house more than they come spend time here. Like for Easter, my granddaughter would pick me up and bring me to her house for a great dinner, I'm sure.
And so you had 5 children. You've got 4 boys and 1 daughter. Is that right?
4 boys and 1 daughter.
And you have some grandchildren. Any great grandchildren or?
Great grandchildren, yes.
Well, it's been really great meeting you in person. I first talked to you September of last year of 24, and I thank you for spending time with me today to do this interview. And God bless you, sir. Thank you for your service and the men like you, and I hope to meet more veterans in the future. So thank you for doing this interview, Mr. Fontenot.
Oh, yes.